It's been a few weeks now since Clair Obscur Expedition 33 released. We've all had an absolutely phenomenal time playing through the story, enjoying everything that it has to offer, all of the twists and turns. After the second act, or even beating the game entirely, it really opens up to all of the optional stuff you can go explore, including but not limited to making really fun endgame builds, which don't have to be completely game trivializing and breaking, and it's these meta-adjacent style of builds that I really enjoy. I've got different setups for every character, each with their own one-turn solution, both for clearing the screen of all enemies and for extreme single target damage. With this Maelle build, I've now done one for each of the characters. You may wish to go check them out after this one. I'm pretty keen to do multiple builds for each character, so if you are interested in that, do stick around for more. With this setup, we're taking Maelle and giving her the capabilities to unpaint all of the enemies, the entire screen, undoing them, eradicating them from their very existence, in one turn without the input of any of your other teammates, so it fits nicely into a party setup, or you can go solo to crank up the damage even further. The entire build revolves around a specific weapon and one skill with a choice of others that you can use, so let's break it all down. The weapon of choice is Barrier Breaker, picked for its really high overall damage and excellent bonus abilities, making it very flexible and you automatically obtain it via progression. This high base damage is going to scale super nicely with all of our damage boosts, so you'll definitely want to consider something like this. Immeasurable OPness. You could equally take a different high damage weapon, or of course the obvious choice of Medallum, which has the absolutely insane level 4 ability of starting you off in Virtuo stance. If you don't really get any benefit from being on low HP because of your Luminers, this may be a better option for you. Your attribute point allocation is very straightforward as ever. First, you're going to go for the primary attribute defense, maxing that out before moving over to might, getting that as high up as you can, and then finally putting the remainder of your points into the secondary attribute agility. This is true for the weapon up to level 32. Once you've maxed it out to level 33, the secondary attribute takes priority over might. Do not worry about my character being level 99, you absolutely do not need to be max level for this build to work. For your pick dose, you're going to be equipping for high critical rate and speed, aiming to get to 100% crit rate if possible, making up the difference from the boost you'll get from defense. If any of the skills are what you're after anyway, then that's a great bonus too, like Shortcut over here, which is going to give us a third hit alongside Cheetah if we need it with my specific setup. The build centers around two skills for the screen wipes. You will first be opening up with Last Chance, which reduces your HP to 1 but refills all 9 AP. It also puts you into Virtuo stance. And then our follow-up screen clearing skill will be Phantom Strike, dealing very high void damage to all enemies over 4 hits. It also gives you 35% of a gradient charge, costs 7 AP, and puts you into defensive stance. And of course, make sure you take Stendhal along as well. It is one of, if not the very strongest skill in the game, an absolutely perfect single target solution, which will completely obliterate anything in front of you. For our Luminous, you won't actually need good AP generation from the get-go, but it's useful to have for any free aim shots needed versus shields or what have you. We can get the full 9 AP on start using Energizing Turn, Energizing Rush, and Energizing Powerful, alongside Auto Rush and Auto Powerful, which is also flexible with a combination of Energizing Starts depending on which Luminous you have available. And for everything else, we are focused on pumping up our damage as high as we can. You're looking at skills like Confident Fighter, Burst Offensive, Glass Cannon, Greater Powerful, Immaculate, Inverted Affinity, Shield Affinity, and Powerful Shield alongside In Medias Res. Solo Fighter will be huge if you're just using Maelle, anything and everything that you've got. Don't worry if you don't have all of these Luminous, use as many as you have. It is far more important that you understand the core principles behind the build rather than having every single one of the same Luminous per se. And all that's left is for us to take this and put it into practice. When entering a battle, you'll go first because of your speed being high enough or via first strike, and you'll have 8 AP to play around with. You'll still need to hold on to 1 to remove any shields or whatever. Go straight into Last Chance to put Maelle into Virtuo stance, and back up to 9 AP if you've used any of it, at the cost of putting her on 1 HP. We'll then play again immediately with Cheetah or Shortcut to use Phantom Strike, unleashing very high void damage to all enemies, which will clear many of even the strongest of endgame mobs. In any cases where you need to adjust to single target damage, you can instead use Stendhal in place of Phantom Strike, which will just delete foes from existence. Alternatively, if you don't really get any benefit out of going to low HP, you can just use the Medallum to go straight into Virtuo stance immediately, skipping out an entire step, making it a true one-turn solution, instantly letting Phantom Strike rip as you enter the battle, ending it there and then. There aren't particularly any caveats here, as no enemies are resistant to void damage, but some are even weak to it. If I had to pick one, it would be that Phantom Strike is very high damage for a 7 AP skill, so it can lag behind a little bit as a screen wipe finisher, unless your weapon damage is very high and you have enough luminous to boost it up. And there you have it, there's my one-turn OP Maelle build, laying waste to all enemies on screen and having an insane single target solution. This one can be completely and utterly broken, so make sure you use your Stendarls wisely, lest you completely trivialize the game, unless that's what you're after. I'll put up on screen a couple of the other builds for some of the other characters. If you enjoyed this, you will probably really enjoy those as well. If you dig my style of gaming guides and builds, you can subscribe for more. But either way, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, for those who come after.